LLCs provide a numerous amount of advantages when it comes to starting a business, running a business, and growing a business. In today's video, I am going to be talking about the three major advantages LLCs provide US-based entrepreneurs. Hi, my name is Andrew. I'm the managing attorney here at Freedom Through Business, where we help entrepreneurs just like you start businesses without having to deal with the confusing and tedious legal paperwork. The purpose of these videos are to provide you with as much guidance and clarity in the beginning stages of starting a business. So if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like, subscribe, as well as the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos. As a side note, these videos are purposed for educational purposes only. And so it's very important that prior to doing anything, that you speak with a professional. And so with that side note out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about the three major advantages of starting an LLC for one's own entrepreneurial business ventures as a US citizen. Starting a business is extremely exciting. In the year 2022, there have been a numerous amount of startups, ranging from e-commerce startups to professional business startups, private practices, to dropshipping businesses, Amazon businesses, consulting businesses, crypto businesses, etc. Individuals are looking for a better way to prioritize their mental health over work, 9 to 5. And one of the best ways to do this is to start one's own business. Let's go ahead and discuss the three major advantages LLCs provide US-based entrepreneurs and why entrepreneurs register an LLC in the first place. The first major reason why entrepreneurs form an LLC in the first place is because they see themselves running and operating this business in the long term. This is not some sort of short gain. This is something that they want to be able to leave behind as a legacy. And so forming an LLC officiates the business process. It provides a separate entity from oneself, which provides what's called personal liability protection. Personal liability protection is the first major reason why entrepreneurs choose to form an LLC. Personal liability protection means that in the event that a lawsuit is filed against the business, only the business assets will be liable. The general gist of what personal liability protection is personal liability protection protects personal assets. And the way it's able to protect personal assets is that an LLC that provides personal liability protection separates personal assets from business assets. When you have that separation between personal assets and business assets, this means that if a lawsuit is filed against the business itself, personal liability protection will protect the personal assets and only the business assets would be liable for that lawsuit. This is very advantageous in comparison to a sole proprietorship. A sole proprietorship is a simpler business entity. However, a sole proprietorship does not provide that separation between personal and business. Everything that is operated and conducted under the sole proprietorship is all connected to that individual's personal name. So in the event of a lawsuit, if a lawsuit were to be filed against that sole proprietorship, because all of the business assets are all connected to that sole proprietorship, this means that an entrepreneur's personal assets may also be put at risk. This includes one's personal bank account, one's personal house, one's personal car, etc. And so with this personal liability protection that LLCs offer, it provides entrepreneurs with peace of mind, knowing that their personal assets are separated from their business assets and from any potential business liabilities. That is the general gist of personal liability protection, and that is the first major advantage of forming an LLC. The second major reason why entrepreneurs based in the United States choose to form an LLC when they start a business is because forming an LLC provides flexibility. Now, what do I mean by this? As I mentioned previously, entrepreneurs choose to start businesses in the first place, and they view it as a long-term process, not short gain profit. And so with that in mind, when it comes to building a company, an entrepreneur based in the US that forms an LLC is able to build a brand that they can be proud of. They're able to build a legacy. And if they want, with the LLC, they can then sell that ownership to a third party, or they can hand it down to a family member, a relative, a friend, etc. With a sole proprietorship, an entrepreneur is not able to sell their business. They're not able to pass it down to their family, to their relatives, to their friends, because everything under a sole proprietorship is attached directly to that individual. So there is no flexibility when it comes to a sole proprietorship. However, there is flexibility when it comes to an LLC. In addition to being able to pass down ownership in an LLC, an owner of an LLC can also elect to have their LLC be taxed in a variety of ways. An LLC is also known as a pass-through entity, which means that come tax time, a single owner of an LLC would file their business taxes along with their personal taxes, so it makes the tax filing season more straightforward. However, say for example, there are two owners in the LLC, two or more owners in the LLC, then they can elect that LLC to be taxed as a multi-member. Whenever an entrepreneur decides or tries to decide whether or not to tax their LLC as a single member or as a multi-member, it's always advised that they speak with a tax professional who specializes in small businesses. In addition to being able to choose an LLC taxed as a single member, an LLC taxed as a multi-member, an owner of an LLC has two additional options to tax their LLC, and that's going to be an LLC taxed as a C corporation and an LLC taxed as an S corporation. Now, both of these elections are really dependent on the circumstances of the business. And what I mean by this is if an LLC owner plans to obtain outside investment funds, or if that individual plans to raise some sort of private equity, then they're going to want to consider a LLC taxed as a C corporation. If an individual knows and has certainty that their business will be making more than $65,000 in annual revenue per year, then they may want to consider forming an LLC taxed as an S corporation. That's a beautiful thing about LLCs, is that the tax election is very flexible, and depending on your business plans and strategies, choosing the correct business tax election for an LLC can save an individual in taxes. But again, it is very important that you speak with a tax professional if you want to learn more. And the third major reason why entrepreneurs choose to form an LLC in the first place is because of the credibility as well as the authority. When forming an LLC, an entrepreneur is now the owner of a business. They become the president, the CEO, and this can create a dramatic mindset change in that individual. It can provide them with the opportunity to become more ambitious knowing that they own a company. I've heard testimonies that having one's own business, for whatever reason, provided them with the necessary boost that they needed in order to become more productive. Not only does it provide that mindset transformation, but it also provides credibility. And what I mean by this is when dealing with third parties, when dealing with potential clients and customers, when they see that an individual has an LLC, for whatever reason, they are deemed to be more authoritative or more credible in the space, because now they're no longer operating as a sole proprietor. They're no longer operating under their own name. They're operating it under an LLC. And you may see this everywhere. When you're driving on the freeway, you may see transportation LLC on a trucking rig. When you're shopping on Amazon and you view the seller on the products page, it's likely you'll see LLC. This credibility is huge when it comes to being able to build and grow a business. And so to summarize this video, the first major reason why entrepreneurs choose to form a LLC in the first place is because of personal liability protection. The second major reason why US entrepreneurs choose to form an LLC is because of the flexibility that LLCs provide. And the third major reason why entrepreneurs choose to form an LLC in the first place is because of the credibility and mindset transformation that entrepreneurs experience. And so if you happen to enjoy this video, please make sure you hit the like, subscribe, as well as the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos. It's time to invest in yourself. It's time to rise.